Hey, secret friends, welcome back to the Holocron Chronicles. This is episode 124 on the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. I am your Jedi guy on the east side of Grand Rapids, joined Charlie Carden, joined by your Jedi guy on the west side of Grand Rapids, my partner Peter Stein. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Happy post. We're recording this day after Thanksgiving, so it's Black Friday for those of you who are out and shopping. Listening to this, obviously, after this comes out, but you're listening to it early if you are subscribed to our Secret Friends Unite Patreon over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. You do get all of our shows early. So for example, if you're listening to this on a Wednesday, the people who subscribe to the Patreon are listening to it on either a Saturday or a Sunday, depending on when we record, usually a Sunday evening. So kind of a fun way to start your week. If you're a Patreon, we also have a laundry list of exclusive programming, including the Facts Geek Life, where we look at genre shows, kind of season by season, picking a selection of episodes. Peter did not change his background from when we were recording on Ron Moore's Battlestar Galactica last week, but we're having a lot of fun talking about that show. So we'd love to have you tune in. We also have an exclusive channel on our Discord. Joining is easy and it's practically free. It literally is free when you listen for the first week for free. But your first month is 50% off. And then you can stick around for as little as $2 a month. So for $2 a month, you're getting all this bonus content and early shows, etc. We would love to have you. So give us a ride, even just to try us out. See what you like. Patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. You might even hear me mention it again. I just can't stop myself. And I also can't stop myself talking about our first sponsor in a very long time. This is one that's very near and dear to my heart, and it's a great one for us here in West Michigan, which I know is probably a smaller portion of our audience. But the folks at Argos Used Books and Comics on the east side of Grand Rapids. Easttown is the area. Michigan's oldest comic shop and Grand Rapids' oldest independent bookstore since 1975. Just a couple of years ago in 2022, my new friends, Crystal and Roger Haight, took the shop over, really changed things around, made more of a Roger is a comic guy like me, as is Crystal. So So comics definitely took a bigger focus, and it really kind of came into shape as well. Their Argonauts Club is our folks who receive 10% off if you set up a comic book poll of 5 or more monthly titles. They also buy comic collections and used books. You're going to find them over on Google, Facebook, or Instagram, or if you like the telephone, 616-454-0111. And tell them that you heard about them on Secret Friends Unite. So Argos Bookstore, love to have them on board the Secret Friends Network. Anyway, back to Star Wars. There was no news per se. I believe I talked about on my YouTube/TikTok short that I published last week that there was a media event and upfront in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where a new poster for The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is next summer's Star Wars movie, their first one since 2019, was unveiled, and some other talking points about Sigourney Weaver's role in that film. She is a New Republic colonel, and she heads up the Adelphi, the Adelphi Squadron and the Adelphi Station, where it's what we saw in Ahsoka. Yeah, where Captain Carson Teva and Zeb
Zeb Aurelios.
Yeah, who's going to play a big role in the film. They're both members. So she plays a role. I know some footage has made the rounds where she's having a bar table discussion with Mando and Grogu in the footage that we have seen. So, so there's a new poster out there. Again, it's not huge news, but you got to imagine, I would think, by the Super Bowl, which is February of 2026, so just less than 3 months from now, 2 months from now, because we're recording this at the end of November, that you're going to see a trailer. I would think it would be very hard to believe that we couldn't see a trailer possibly before that time.
I think I heard that the trailer is supposed to drop with Avatar.
Right. But they said the same thing about Doomsday. But then again, Doomsday doesn't come out till this time next year. So yeah, I think if they're making priorities, we'll find out. I am probably abstaining from seeing Avatar because I just can't stand it. And Extra always we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. And it was funny. I was looking at the timing because the weekend that comes out, I have my family holiday gathering at my aunt's house, which is, a drive from here. And I looked at some other stuff and I'm like, maybe it's time for me to finally start speaking with my wallet because I just don't care for it. But I don't know. Where do you stand with Avatar?
It's okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of like I remember when the first one came out, it was like the special effects were
Oh
super
yeah,
amazing. We're like, wow, that's really cool. But,
right.
and the special effects in the second one were also really cool. They were doing some very groundbreaking special effects.
Sure.
But I don't find it terribly interesting plot wise because they're very, very
That's
similar, and they're
that's
kind of like it's just dancing
yeah.
with wolves in space.
Yeah, or
Um,
I had a coworker back in those days that just said it was Pocahontas with blue people, and I don't mean to get on this big Avatar bent.
kind of that too, but it's also
Yeah.
hilariously, it uses Avatar, and it's kind of following the Avatar cycle from Last Airbender.
Oh my
We were
gosh.
making a joke with at my house. It was like, we'd had air, now we have water. It's going to be fire next. Guess what, guys? It's fire.
Oh my
So
gosh.
is movie number 4 going to be Earth? I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we didn't. And again, apologies for going on this long ramble, but yeah, that was the conversation when Oxford and I recorded on this last year, that he was blown away by the visuals, but I was like, but it has no story, and he was like, so
Yeah.
what? Look at the visuals.
The
And I'm
visuals
like,
are pretty. The story is lacking. So
I know.
if you're going to go, if you're going to a showcase of what NVIDIA graphics can do, there you
Right.
go.
Right.
If that's not what you're there for, it's not going to be that exciting.
Absolutely correct. And that's where I landed. But anyway, we'll get off Avatar.
Anyway, yeah.
And we'll get back to talking about Star Wars. So obviously we were talking about 3 things under the Disney umbrella. But front and center with Star Wars right now is Star Wars Visions, which you heard us talk about. Last time we covered episodes 1 through 3. So now we are moving on in that, covering episodes 4 through 6. These were all they were unconnected from each other, but I don't believe, and again, I still didn't do it.
The third one has a tie from an earlier season.
Okay, I was going to say, was there a tie from an earlier one that I'm just kind of drawing a blank on? But the I'm going to read a summary like I did in the past. I have some notes. I'll probably interject some things as we talk, but yeah, we'll kind of do it in the same format. So, all right, we'll jump in. Segment 4 is the Bounty Hunters, Japanese. Those Japanese letters as reflected
it's Bounty
here.
Hunters in Japanese.
That would have been my first guess. Junchi Yamamoto is handling the directing from a story from Hiroshi Seiko, or Seiku, if you prefer. Not sure. Wit Studio does the producing. And here we go. The Orphan Girl, Seven. You're missing a letter. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to get sued because you think Paramount owns the letter 7 now.
I mean, it shouldn't, but they're trying to either avoid Paramount or I think there's another game or band or something that uses something similar.
Oh my goodness, legal nightmare. But anyway, she was raised by an assassin group known as Basham. However, she left the group after a Jedi spared her, and Basham got convinced the girl was a traitor. Seven travels with a modified medical droid IV-4A on the starship Sandbird. I never caught the name of the ship. Plying a living as bounty hunters. After escaping from several Basham assassins, the duo are hired by the seemingly benevolent. Did I just say benevolent? Benevolent, industrious Jim Sim Campbellon. I never catch any of these names, so that's why this is so great. To hunt a group of insurgents, the 2 bounty hunters quickly discover that the insurgents are seeking to free their enslaved siblings. Seven helps the insurgents, but IV-4A angrily leaves due to his resentment, and Seven delaying the removal of his assassin programming. He's too grumpy. Seven fights Jim Sim, who dons a droideka mech suit. Now, that was pretty great. IV experiences a change of heart after discovering that Seven was seeking to help remove his programming.
He went through her mail.
By going through her mail. It's reading somebody's email, which is a big violation of privacy. Together, the 2 of them defeat Jim Sim and help the insurgents free enslaved child workers. Together, Seven and IV-4A resume their adventures. All right, let's talk about it. All right, so how you feeling?
It was an interesting story. I mean, a little predictable, in the sense that, like, the industrialist has child slaves. Oh no,
he's a bad guy. Yeah, I couldn't tell.
I couldn't.
Yeah, because he sits her down early on to make her a pitch, and he's throwing her like, "I'm gonna fix your ship, and then your salary is going to be this much."
And then but then you see the little Twi'lek girl show up with the collar, and you're like, that's not good. And then they're like,
"Why is she wearing a collar?"
And it's like, "Oh, it's just a medical instrument." Like, yeah, okay, yeah,
yeah, exactly.
It was something that I thought was kind of interesting, but this is because I noticed music stuff, right? At the beginning when it shows her facing off the Jedi, which we get snippets of throughout the episode.
Right.
They're singing the Dies Irae, which is a Latin hymn used for funerals, which has been appropriated into Western musical motific stuff as evil things showing up. So if you're not familiar with it, like in the Lord of the Rings, if you listen for the ring wraiths, that is the same musical progression.
Gotcha.
So it's used in a lot of things, or in The Shining, like the big brass thing. It's the same stuff, but they're singing the words, which I thought was interesting. To try to put that thing in the back of your mind of like, oh, this Jedi is dangerous, he's gonna die, and then you find out that's not what's going on.
Right.
So it ends up that the Jedi saved her from a same blow up your head collar.
Yeah. Oh boy, like Suicide Squad. Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
I loved off the bat. Their ship is like a deluxe version of the Razor Crest, which I totally dig. Yeah. And I know we're getting the Razor. We were just talking about Mando and Grogu, but yeah, we could talk about Mando and Grogu, and we know because we have seen a trailer. We have seen. Now I'm remembering that we have seen a trailer.
Yes, we have seen a trailer. Yep.
And the Razor Crest is back in that, so that's great because I love
another one is back. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which it's just that is what really bummed me out at the end of the Mandalorian, the last season, the third season that we didn't have the Razor Crest. Yeah. I picked out immediately that the voice of her bot is Ronnie Chang from The Daily Show. Absolutely great voice.
Okay.
Huge fan of his because I don't know if you follow The Daily Show, but their correspondence, because Jon Stewart does one day a week, they have a team of I think 5 correspondents. And so Monday will be him. And then they rotate the other 3 days that they come out is one co-host gets a week. So it'll be like, here's Ronnie's week. So Tuesday through Thursday, it'll be him. So yeah, I've gotten very used to the sound of his voice. So yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure like in Yuko's Treasure, we've got another big voice who's the bad guy.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we will get
mention when we get there, but yeah.
Exactly. We get a seismic charge. I love how she calls it, oh, those things are so expensive.
That was hilarious. Funny. Like use the seismic charge, and every prequels dude is like, yes, I love the seismic charge. And then she's like, oh, so expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's one of those people, like when you have a friend you go out to dinner with and they bitch about how expensive the restaurant is. It's like, come on.
It's like, you're going to die. It took out all the bad guys in one hit. You're fine.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It paid for itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love hearing the return of and I feel like it's more, maybe it's more like just like it's a bad word, or it's more about her talk, but they say dank ferric, which is
there's a lot of dank ferric in these 3 episodes.
Yeah,
there's a lot of dank ferric in these 3 episodes.
I absolutely dug. I felt like so when they land and the droid is reading off, the head of resource development wants to see it. I swear she called the dude Ginseng. I'm like tea, but we found out his name was, what did I read his name was actually? Jim Sim. Well, I like ginseng, so he's the tea guy in the rest of my notes.
Hey, I mean.
Yeah. Like I said, he's pitching this hot deal. And like you said, it's like, we just met. Why are you offering me all this money and stuff? And then you have the slave girl walk in and she's a child. I do like how she brings him drink, and Ronnie Chang, the droid, says, "Oh, you have blah 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 oil drink," and it's in a juice box with a straw, with like a little crunchy straw, like you would sit, like a sippy cup you'd give a kid, or a graduated sippy cup that you had give an older kid. But I thought, there was a lot of like War Orphan talk. So I was wondering if this was this New Republic era, I'm guessing.
It sounds like it's New Republic.
Okay, gotcha. But I said, well, really, it could be any war because, hey, there's War Orphans in any war, and the series is called Star Wars. So
the Droideco's mech suit was interesting when they dropped that down.
Yeah, big time. There's an adult Twi'lek in this, and I thought it was the lady who was the other ex-stormtrooper in the Rise of Skywalker, and it wasn't. It was Jodie Turner Smith, who's an actress who's been in a lot of other stuff, I believe another British black actress. So the voices sounded similar to me. The Master and Droid have a fallout, but they have like a Three's Company style misunderstanding, which was revealed when she go. T Guy's office in this, I think when they show it the second time, kind of looks like Palpatine's office. So
it does. It looks.
How could I have not seen that coming? Then Ronnie Chang shows up again, saves the day. They have some clunky dialogue to wrap things up, where she says, "I think that thing you accused me of is false." Beep bop.
Yeah, they're pulling like a, we're going to start joshing with each other right away.
Yeah.
Like, you're a traitor. I am not. It's like something where they mess with each other all the time. That's the vibe you get, but it is kind
Yeah.
of it is kind of like it's clearly done of like their relationship's repaired and now they're off doing fun things again. But it's like that's such a weird line to end on.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and again, all of this is translated because we look at the credits. You obviously have the original Japanese, and then you have all the American credit as well. So not everything from language to language, I'm sure, is going to translate in a way that sounds natural, or a way, or it's just, it's funny because when you look at the credits on IMDb, which I was going through, George Lucas has a writing credit there, although even though he was characters created by or whatever created by, but when you have clunky dialogue, it doesn't sound like people. That really sounds like George Lucas because it's something he was really well known for, especially when we get to the prequels, as you know. So, rating, I rated this a 9 out of 10. And again, I dislike anime style. It's not my jive, but in this case, and it's not the case in the next one, the story won over the animation for me. I thought it was a win. I thought Ronnie was a great ad. He added a lot to the story of Ronnie's character, I should say. So yeah, this was a big win for me. Maybe even my favorite of the ones we've watched so far. So how about you?
Yeah, I would probably give this one like an 8 or 9. It's pretty solid. So
yeah,
a little predictable, but solid.
Right. Well, when you get to a little predictable, that's kind of when we're getting into this next one.
But you're doing like 20 minutes, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think these were 21 minutes, 23, and then maybe either 23 or 22. So basically, everything is less than 25 minutes.
Yeah,
it's really
Clone Wars episode length at most.
Yeah, it would be like as if you were watching a half-hour show on a network.
Yep.
So it's 22 minutes with commercial breaks, of which I don't. I have the ad-free Disney Plus, or at least I think I do. I don't know. Things change all the time. I think I do. So there weren't any ads while I was watching.
Too, and I don't know. It doesn't always show ads, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, but it's like I know my HBO Max now has ads because I didn't want to upgrade. Or Peacock, for example, always had. I don't think they have an ad-free tier. I could be wrong. I'm no expert in such things. Netflix has ads.
When it comes to TV shows, I'm not that big of it. I don't care as much because I'm used to that from growing up in the 90s.
Well, of course, yeah, exactly.
But like when it comes to movies, I don't like ad interruptions. That's where I draw the line.
That's a tough one. I agree. And yeah, when you get stuck watching a movie, and you're like, oh, I'm going to watch blah blah blah, and it's on HBO Max. Oh, there's going to stick commercials in. Then you feel like you're watching a TV show, which nobody really loves. And now we're on a tangent again. Sorry, but fortunately, we're keeping the time tight anyway. But yeah, watching a movie with commercials, you feel like you're watching one on like.
Yeah, I mean, like if I was watching Star Wars on television, I don't really like when they cut because it's just weird. Now, if you want the full experience, you go find the Mexican broadcast of the original trilogy, and those are hilarious because they have interstitial things that like directly move from the film into the ads, and they're really funny.
Sovito Crystal.
Yeah, those are so amazingly stupid. So if you want that experience with ads in a movie, that's fun. That's just an experience. Right. But like as a general rule, I'm not the biggest.
Absolutely not. So. All right, let's move it right along. Episode 5 is Yuko's Treasure, translated into Yuko's Treasure. Yeah. Masaki Tachibana handling the directing from Nasuko Takahashi and Mika Tanaka. Thank you. This is Kamina Citrus Studios. So with a little bit of orange peel for you.
Yes.
Following the death of his spacer parents, Yuko is raised by bear-like droid Billy, Billy. So is this the one that did this spin off of previously? I feel bad not remembering.
This one did not spin off of something else.
So that's going to be the third one. Okay. On a homestead on Tatooine. So we have a familiar setting for better or for worse.
And hilariously, we don't get a really crusty version of the Mos Eisley Cantina, which is weird.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, it's kind of watered down. While Billy visits Mos Eisley to sell water to Jawas, which is apparently the only only a handful of jobs on Tatooine. You either do that or you carve up meat, like you said. You saw Obi-Wan doing in the
moisture farming, meat processing for some reason, or scrapping. That seems to be all that people do on Tatooine.
Right. Why the hell does anybody? You're born there. You're born there.
Why do you live there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you grow where you're planted. Anyway, Billy draws attention of a young boy named Sola, who is part of a pirate gang led by the menacing Fox Ear. Okay. Believing Billy holds the key to a treasure hidden by Yuko's parents, Fox Ear and his gang raid Yuko's homestead and kidnap Billy. Sola joins forces with Yuko and his triangle droid to rescue Billy. Now, the triangle droid is just candy corn with feet, which That's about the weakest droid I've seen.
It's got a wheel. It sometimes has arms.
I mean, I like the Dio, the droid in
Rise of
Skywalker, the least of any droid. This one is below that one. This was like, oh my god!
When I saw it, I couldn't stop thinking of Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls, which is not the same vibe, but it's just that's the only thing it reminded me of.
So anyway, they go off to rescue Billy, who is taken to an underground cave network that leads to Yuko's parents' secret base. The pirates unleash a reprogrammed Billy who attacks Sola and Yuko. The pirates are driven down an abyss by a rampaging crate dragon. That didn't look like a crate dragon to me. I thought
crate dragons have a longer snout.
I definitely identify that as a different critter. So yeah, I that's another knock against this.
It could just be an animation decision, or maybe whoever's translating this decided it was a crate dragon because it wasn't named anything in particular.
I guess, but why not call it something else if that's not what it is? I don't know. So that kind of this. I have other thoughts, but that kind of sticks on my craw. Following a struggle with the boys, Billy reverts to his original programming and leads the boys to Yuko's parents' underground sanctuary. He reveals that the parents' treasure was a starship, which they intended to pass down to him. Billy gives Yuko and Sola their first flying lesson. Okay, let's get started. What do you think?
This one for me was just kind of a little like, what's the right? It's the style of anime that I've seen before, and it's kind of like a cutesy little adventure sort of thing,
right?
And it's fine for what it is. Like it's got some funny moments. It's got some like Billy was definitely something that felt like it was being pulled out of My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah,
like. It's just like, here's a fluffy bear droid with a microwave in his belly. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, can that thing exist in a galaxy far, far away? Absolutely. It's just weird.
Yeah.
The pirates were interesting. Like the whole thing of like trying to get money that's been hidden. Okay, fine. That was okay. There was one thing that did kind of bug me multiple times where it's like kids are riding speeder bikes and they can stop them with their hands. That was weird to me. Like,
is that like the droid gang from
I don't know, but like Yuko tries to use his speeder bike and like first of all he crashes and should be like really hurt from crashing into the Jawas, but then the second time he pulls it out, like Sola just stops it with his hand. It's like that's not how that would hurt
a little bit too much dramatic license.
So, but otherwise, it's like there's some goofy stuff. You know, the pirates have these like little minions, basically purple minions.
I wrote, and I don't know if you're familiar with this at all, but it was a direct ripoff from the animated Beatles film Yellow Submarine. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I haven't.
But it's all filled with, they go to Pepperland, which is obviously spun off of Sgt. Pepper, one of their most famous albums, but it's all just animated weird, like Andy Warhol, LSD looking critters and shit. And that's what these look like.
That's what these looked like? Oh, yeah.
Because they were a gumdrop with like pursed lip, like duck lip. They were like, it was like, oh.
Yeah, they also feel like they're kind of a cross between a minion and then there's another thing, like I think it's Pikmin in a Nintendo series. Like it feels like they're a match between those things.
Right.
They're fine, but it's just weird. It's like, here's a pirate crew. We have one competent captain who I believe is Steve Buscemi.
That is correct. It is Steve Buscemi. And the other actor being the bear thingy is Harvey Guillen, if you're familiar with him. Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank, but like
you'd know him if you saw him.
Probably. But we've got Steve Buscemi, Fox Pirate. We've got a very anime tropey villain, Twi'lek, who's like
that's what that really drew.
And then there's like a
Triceratops. Yeah. It was all the things came together in this to just drive me nuts. And it was the absolute reverse of how I felt about the first one. I said I mean, I have other thoughts, but yeah, the last segment, I don't love the style, but the story, I like the story of the last segment we watched. Yeah. This one, it was a very tired, I set it on Tatooine, boring as hell. All these terrible tropes. of everything, and just weird characters that were weird because you were being weird, and then not following any established rules of things like speeder bikes, or calling something a crate dragon when it's not a crate dragon.
Yeah.
It was just kind of all hackneyed nonsense to me. It just really made me nuts, and it just didn't break any interesting ground for me. Steve Buscemi's character was like this big visual feature. He had an eye patch, half of his skin was purple under his
he felt like
mask.
Anubis. Is what
I wrote Anubis. It was like a Vader Anubis because it was like a helmet, but then it had the snout, and so it was very much Anubis, the Egyptian. What was he? The Egyptian god
of death.
Yeah. Egyptian god of death. Boom. Which it's like, oh, that seems very serious, but everything else in this is very silly. Starting off with the big bear droid that has a microwave oven in its midsection. I turned to April. I said, "Is that supposed to be like a droid or something?" She said, "Yeah." I must have been looking away. She says, "Yeah, he just used his belly as a microwave." And I was like, I didn't catch that. Because I was taking notes. Sometimes I'm taking notes and looking down.
The beginning of the episode, I did not pick up that he was a droid until the microwave happened. I was like, wait a minute.
And he just overall looks like something you would see in a horror movie. You know what I mean? Like Five Nights at Freddy's, right? You know what I mean? It's just, it made me super uncomfortable. But yeah, there's this big, the fight is long, and it's, the monster scene. It's like everything was either annoying me or boring me in this. Let's not forget, I'm not a fan of the genre. I'm talking about it for completeness sake. I'm not meant to color anybody else on it per se, but this was, I feel like this is one of the worst ones they've done. I mean, I wrote this one below the slash. This was a 4 out of 10 for me. It's just, it was annoying me.
It's a little weak. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was a little weak. It definitely felt a little bit more just kind of, I mean, it was full of a lot of tropes. Like, the monster falls down a pit twice. So
I'm
like,
back.
it comes, like, it falls down the pit. You're like, it's coming back. It came back, and now it scares everyone. And then it crashes into all the bad guys, and now all of them fall down the same pit. Like, okay.
Are they coming back? Who knows? Oh, because then they turn around and leave. Even the part where they get the starship and they're flying away, and they're like, "Yay, he's going to teach us to fly." And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Did you remember?
Like I said, it's just kind of a cutesy little story.
I mean, I guess I'm being a big grump about it. I understand that, and whether you agree with me or don't agree with me, let me know. I'm interested in hearing what other people think. But it's coming off of how won over I was by the first segment here, which had an art style which I wouldn't say was terribly dissimilar. Maybe it didn't tilt. I felt this one like tilted way harder into super goofy looking characters. Everything is very exaggerated.
There's a lot of rounded edges, a lot of round shapes,
right?
Characters.
Lots of shapes. But yeah, I don't know where would this land for you? Was it harmless? Was it harmful? Did you not care?
This one I probably put like a 5 or somewhere around there. It's not amazing. It's not terrible for me, but it's just like, I don't know. It's super tropey, and it's set on Tatooine, and it's like,
Yeah, I know. It's like, who cares?
I'm not opposed.
Who cares about that?
But sometimes it's just like, okay.
That was a gripe, and I think a fair one, that when I would talk to Extra and our other roommate John about Star Wars, he would say, "Oh, look, they set it on Tatooine again. Are there any other planets out there in the universe besides Tatooine? Because there's just way too much stuff set there for it to be this big galaxy where there are thousands of star systems." Do something different.
4 of the original 6 films have at least a scene on Tatooine.
Yeah, I know. It's like, do something different. Give us a different, vantage. So I just feel like it was really lazy, and the tone didn't even really speak to the childlike wonder part of Star Wars. It was just like, let's do something that.
No, I mean, it felt very much like certain anime that I've seen, and I for those of you who are aware of the anime genre, I apologize, I can't pull any titles out of my butt right now because I don't remember, but it feels very similar to other anime that.
Well, you said Totoro.
That's what the bear reminded me of. But like, there's other things with the orphan who has like a treasure and da 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 da. Like, there's very similar bits. So it's very on brand, and I believe for this studio, it's very on brand. And that's kind of what Visions is doing. Is like, hey, make a thing that you want to make, but in Star Wars, and that's very much what this is. Right. So if you're not a big fan of what that studio does, then you're not going to like it. But if you love what this studio does, I think you're going to be fine with it. So.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Like I said, entertainment is what entertains you. It doesn't really matter if I like it or Peter likes it, but you're getting our perspective.
Because
Watch
I
it.
hate everything.
Yes. Oh, yeah, exactly. And there are plenty of podcasters out there who are like that. I refuse to be one of them that tells
I don't
you
hate
how to like
everything. I
stuff.
just sometimes will say, I don't like this, and here's
Yeah.
why.
I tend to be skeptical, but I do love a lot of stuff. It all really depends on what you get into. But I'm not one of these people that loves everything that Star Wars puts out
No,
because some
I
of
don't
it,
have rosy glasses. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen some bad stuff.
yeah, I'm willing to be
Before.
critical, but I'm willing to show excitement when excitement gets past me. So, all right, let's move on to number 6. And yes, it does say in the very first sentence here that this is a follow-on story. This is The Lost Ones, translated as The Lost Ones. Oh, how would you say that? It actually has an English equivalent. What does that say?
Samayo Manotachi.
There you go. Great work.
For those of you who
Hitachi
speak
Haga.
Japanese, I probably butchered it. Sorry.
Right. Hitachi Hatagi does the directing. Takedo Unshi and Hitoshi Haga handling the writing. And this is Kinema Citrus. Again,
Same
look
group.
at that.
Yep.
Same group as last time. But I thought immensely more quality. So following the events of The Village Bride, I'm assuming that was last season. If it was season 1, I apologize, but it was previously. The former Jedi Padawan F. Wow, like the letter F. That's basic. That's shorter than Cher.
Yeah, there's another series if you haven't seen it. There's a series which I do recommend called Death Note, where there's 2 characters that are named after letters. So this is a thing that's done.
This is a thing. Hold on. It's going to give me the opportunity. I'm going to say that. Sure. I have to take a minute to name the episode.
This is a thing. Yeah. I can finish reading the description too.
Go for it.
Padawan F rescues 2 refugees named Ron and Theo from a quake on the planet Inoli, a former mining world ravaged by carbonite gas, because apparently we mine carbonite gas.
I guess.
Ron is the leader of a group of Inoli refugees who have been experimenting with the carbonite gas to try to resurrect their frozen peoples. The Inoli refugees bring F aboard their giant Mon Calamari refugee ship, where she befriends the local children. Well, they take an interest in her, is more what happens. She also has one of her prosthetic legs repaired by the basilisk cyberneticist Juna. When an Imperial Star Destroyer arrives, F surrenders herself to save the refugees, because they'd be looking for Jedi, and she'd be one.
Right. No Inquisitors, though. I noticed. Maybe this was after the Inquisitors
he's kind
were out
of an Inquisitor, but not exactly. So
he's not wearing the outfit.
He's wearing black gauntlets, but that's all we got.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's on a budget. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's like Boy Scouts, and you kind of earn them as you go. You got a new merit badge. You get the carrot piece now.
He's got to get out of Cub Scout zone. Cub Scout Inquisitors.
Exactly. Now you got the boots. That's the next step after that. Could be.
So Ron pretends to hand her over to the Empire, but then goes and sabotages the Star Destroyer's engine room with the carbonite bombs with the help of his droid Lulu. F is taken to meet her former Jedi Master Zero, who was resurrected from the dead and has fallen to the dark side. He attempts to recruit her to the dark side, but she refuses. During a duel, F is seriously wounded, as in lost limbs, just like Anakin. Whoops. In fact, the same number. But manages to incapacitate her master with a carbon bomb. Ron's carbon bombs cripple the Star Destroyer. It crashes into the planet, which allows the refugee ship to escape. Ron rescues F and sticks her in the medical bay, and together they escape into hyperspace aboard Ron's old school Trade Federation shuttle.
Yeah, that's right. That was I wrote, Count Dooku's ship. So, first shot, Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan. It was a lift from Back to the Future. Did you notice that? Yeah. They're wearing rad suits.
Yeah.
And he
they were yellow.
He ends up sticking out his hand with a remote control to activate the device that's doing the extracting, and it's just like Marty with the tape deck in his hand, because he takes it and he puts it on his dad's ear, and a dun.
So I'm an extraterrestrial
Back to the Future fan. Vulcan. Yeah, I love that.
Amazing. They cut Easter eggs.
They grabbed me right away. I first assumed that, because it was like this little group of crystals, and you were sticking the thing to it. I thought it was Kyber. I thought, they're getting like Kyber juice or something.
I thought it was some sort of gas.
Yeah,
because it reminded me of the. I can't. They say it wrong so many times, so I can't say it right. But the quantum batteries from Guardians 2.
Oh, the Harbulary batteries.
Yeah, the Harbulary batteries.
They are not called Harbulary batteries.
The Harbulax batteries. No, Drake.
Yeah.
Like, and they say it wrong
sometimes
so many times I can't even remember what it's actually
sometimes
called.
he'll steal batteries that he doesn't need.
Yeah, that's what they reminded me for. That's not what it is, but that's what it reminded me.
Amulax batteries.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
And then that Rocket then made up Harbulary batteries for no reason.
Yeah.
God, I love that movie. That's worth it. That's worth a watch. I think sometimes
it's a great film.
But I worship at the pedestal of James Gunn, so I do love most of his stuff. So, but anyway, so they do reveal the setting of the planet was an old carbonite mine that collapsed because the Empire strip mining is it's in the first chapter of the Empire's playbook. So they'll go to a world, they'll ravage it,
all of the resources.
Yeah. And then they just destroy it, which is what happened here. Because they end up boogieing out of the planet, and this is when they find F, because I think she stopped some debris from crushing them when an earthquake starts that then releases purple gas, which I think sweeps over a village as killing a bunch of civilians, or we don't see that.
It does freeze a bunch of civilians because you see a mother and daughter huddled in a
whoops. It's kind of like Pompeii.
Yeah, it's very Pompeii-ish.
Yeah,
but they're experimenting because they think they can figure out a way to reverse it. From what I could gather, this wasn't run by the Empire.
Right. Yeah, because they make a lot of talk about we want to get discovered by the Empire.
They want to get the Empire's help, which, if you're not on the bad side of the Empire, they've got resources, they've got a science division, you want to get their help.
Right.
So it's one of the things, if you've listened, I'm sure that I've mentioned this a couple of times before on the podcast, but this is the one side of Star Wars that we don't see a lot, where you have people who are not part of the rebellion and don't see the dark side of the Empire, who are just it's the government. And they're just kind of
Well, they're not actively being persecuted, or maybe they don't know, or they don't care, they don't understand. Where the people on this planet, let's say they live in this village, but the other side of the planet, which is uninhabited, is being strip mined. But by doing that, it destroys their part of the planet too. And they're like, "Why did this happen? We need help." Or you're a scavenger who's floating around, and you don't bump into the Empire because this galaxy they live in is vast. So they're not really hip.
Yeah, so they just don't know that it's because you have this whole thing where they get onto the ship, and you have a bunch of the kids going, "I want to join the Empire," and you hear the Order 66 propaganda,
right? Exactly.
Which is
because that's what's
the
been
Jedi
passed
are
on.
the bad guys.
Because this is absolutely it's set during the OT without a doubt. So place yourself right around the time of when all that was going on. But I wrote, hey, look, insufferable child actors. Yeah, I thought the kids talking just that that was an eye roll for me. But again, the story rolled forward in a way that I thought was not bad at all. Ron is the other guy. She gives herself up, but he flies her over in Dooku's ship, and he tags along because he's gonna start some shit. He's gonna get up there and start blowing stuff around. But ends up messing with the master. Oh, so the English cast. It was Mark Strong, who has been in a lot of stuff, was the master, and Karen Fukuhara was the girl, was F, and she's from The Boys. She's the she's the female member of that team, the one who doesn't speak. One of the Imperial officers was wearing glasses, which is I feel like
that was really funny. I
thought that was neat. So they have a cool orchestral montage where F is having some remembering of living on this grassy plain and being a child and all that sort of stuff. So I thought that's
being given a Meilu fruit.
The Meilu Run gets mentioned in the beginning and then gets shown in the end.
Yeah.
And then, she and Ron have a hearty handshake to say, we're friends now, which I'm like...
It kind of comes out of nowhere. I mean, she saves them from the carbonite gas, so I guess it makes sense. But I
figure people would just have a big old hug or something. I don't know, but not everybody's huggers. I get it. But I just thought it was and a pleasure to work with you too. It seemed like a weird end to me, but I liked it. This segments of episodes for me was a strong start. We hit the absolute bottom, and then we flung back upwards. But it's I deducted a couple of points for the obnoxious kids. The kids, while they had interesting things to say, like they were spouting a lot of propaganda, they still did it in a way that annoyed me. I don't know how else to describe it, but a cool story. And again, not necessarily hugely groundbreaking, but it did show some aspects of the galactic life of people who are just, hey, this is what I hear. It's
Yeah.
like some things that happen in this country
Like,
right
I
now.
just
People who
exist
hear
over
things
here.
that they're just like, I guess it must be true, because people they don't have any experience that would lead them in another direction.
Yeah.
Or they're so isolated that their life is largely untouched by all the stuff that it's not like everything's the Gorman massacre, you know what I mean? Where it's really blatant that, there's a civilian population to be subjugated so that the Empire can do exactly what they did to this planet, because they did their shit and then they left. Where in Andor with the Gorman massacre, they had to kind of shove the population out of the way, or they needed to foment dissent so they could kill them off or push them out of the way so that they could then get what they, get the, what was it with the Gorman? Was it beetles or birds? Now I can't remember.
The spiders were spitting
the
silk.
spiders.
Yeah. That was their thing.
To harvest to build a part of the Death Star.
They needed to harvest something that was underneath the town.
Right.
So it wasn't the spiders particularly. It was some mineral that I'm forgetting. But
right. That there's another show that's due a rewatch just because it's so great.
It's a good show.
But yeah, I don't know. Where do you land with this episode? What's your rating?
I liked this one. I think I would put it like a 7.
Yeah.
The main thing was, and this is probably a little on me, is I didn't remember all the details of the previous episode, and so it was weird to me for like resurrecting the Jedi Master in a way that like it didn't quite make sense. That, and I'm not the biggest fan of just like, hey, I'm gonna resurrect somebody, but he's bad now.
Right.
And just like
Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
It's a very Pet Cemetery kind of thing.
And also it's just it's become kind of a joke in Star Wars where it's like someone dies and then they don't.
Yeah.
It's like, Rey's dead and now she's not. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's steer, like when characters die, they need to stay dead.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just, it becomes too much like comics, you know what I mean? Because nobody ever stays
and I mean, I get that you want some of the emotional like stuff between like the Padawan and her former master. I get it, but it feels a little it feels just a little forced, just because it's like, why is he after her? Like, I mean, obviously he's her master, but like, what in particular, like what's going on? It's not really clear.
Yeah.
He seems to be working for the Inquisitors, but maybe not. Also, he's having like a holodeck duel on a field of poppies. I'm not entirely sure what that's all about. Like, it's very pretty. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Was it meant to harken back to kind of the orchestral montage we see at the end where she's having to remember? It's like, well, this is where we live.
It's definitely kind of harkening back to that, but it was just a little strange. With that.
That's fair.
But I did kind of like the visual callback to Revenge of the Sith, where she's like missing her limbs. She does the flip that Anakin does before Palpatine comes to pick him up. So I thought that was kind of a fun little reference. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in here, but some of the plot stuff doesn't quite make sense to me. And maybe it's just because I'm forgetting the first episode. But.
Yeah, and again, I feel we're potentially doing a disservice to our listeners by being like, I don't remember that. But that being said, drop us a line and let us know. We're obviously available on all the socials. You can find us at Secret Friends Unite. You can find Peter. You can find myself. I'm the C3 at all of TheCeecThree at all socials. And Secret Friends Unite at gmail.com. Drop us a note. We'd love to talk about that. But that's the show. Yep. We wrap this up next episode. And then we are getting back to talking about some Ewoks. We're going to cover that and Ewok movie. Mm-hmm. After that, I'm going to bring April in for this one. So it's going to be you, me, and her because she's our resident Ewok expert. So she and I will watch that one together. That'll be fun.
Oh boy.
But we'll wrap this. We'll wrap this up. But just to circle back, listeners, again, everybody, thank you for joining us. People out there, Peter, if people want to keep chatting with you about your thoughts on this episode, where do they find you?
You can find me around the interwebs at Petrus Aquinas on most platforms. My most active on Discord, on the Secret Friends Discord, and then you can also find me over on ELH's YouTube and Twitch channels where we do some role-playing games, and then you can find me behind the scenes on Starship Excelsior.
Oh, yes. We actually had James, the host of
Yep. Yeah, the
Star Trek
executive
Excelsior.
producer. We had him
Yeah, on our Code 47, an episode we did just recently. If you happen to be a Star Trek fan of our show on the same network, well, as I had mentioned a moment ago, you can find me on all of the socials except for X. I don't mess with that. I am at the C3 TheCeeThree. You can catch my a couple of times a week shorts on TikTok or YouTube on the Secret Friends Unite handle for either one of those, where I do a kitchen island chat sitting in front of my colorful refrigerator where I'm talking about stuff that I'm enjoying that week. I'd love to have you tune in and watch those and tell me what you think. And as previously mentioned, anything that you're enjoying right now or feedback that you have about what we've talked about here, secretfriendsunite@gmail.com. Write us a note. That's an email. I know it's old fashioned, but it's a great way to get your thoughts on it. We'd love to hear from you. But with that, friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
May the force be with you.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.
Hey, Secret Friends Nation, thanks for sticking around after the credits, or if you're watching us on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. I am joined by a friend of the show, super great guy who has been on with us many, many times before. This is actor and, dare I say, philanthropist, Mr. John Billingsley, who was the wonderful Dr. Phlox on Star Trek Enterprise, as well as a number of other things. John, it is always awesome to see you. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I think you have to be able to write checks with more zeros than I'm comfortable writing to actually be a philanthropist. Do-gooder, I'll take that. How about that?
Do-gooder. Oh boy, it sounds like it should be on the old Batman show. Oh, do-gooder fighting the Joker.
Yeah.
Well, John, I wanted to slide you in here because, you know, we got some crazy stuff going on in the country these days. We're just getting off a government shutdown where SNAP benefits were pinched. We're also getting into the holiday seasons where the holiday season, Thanksgiving and Christmas in this case, where things can traditionally get tight for a lot of people. So I wanted to have you on to talk a little bit about the great work that you do with the Hollywood Food Coalition out there in Greater Los Angeles and how people can help.
Terrific. Well, I'll tell you a bit about the Hollywood Food Coalition, and this will be bifurcated because I've always been a great believer that while I work for and represent a charity that I have great faith in and believe does wonderful things, it's just as important, maybe even more important, to think about if you have the impulse to give to us, but you think, maybe I should look closer to home. Fine, do that. I will say that hunger and need and want in this country is sadly only getting worse. 1 in 5 kids in America is food insecure. Some 40% of Americans, if they were hit with an unexpected $400 to $500 bill, their roof caves in, their car is repossessed, wouldn't have the money in the bank account to pay it. There are a limited number of soup kitchens and food rescue organizations in the country. We do something that is very dear to my heart at the Hollywood Food Coalition. We serve a hot meal to all comers 7 nights a week, no questions asked, always providing choice, always providing dignity of service. And we also offer an array of other services to people who come through our doors. We try and, in essence, sort of provide a kind of a soup to nuts experience. If you want your bicycle tire repair, we've got medical vans. If you want some housing assistance, if you want some kind of referrals to other social service agencies, we very much believe in coalition building through the medium of food. And additionally, we rescue somewhere around 2.5 to 3 million pounds of food a year to share with other not-for-profits, basically to augment and buttress their meal programs. So think about a battered women's shelter that does great work, but may not provide 3 squares a day. Right. We're trying to say, small not-for-profits doing great work, tell us what we can do to help make sure you're feeding the people who come to you for service as best you can. And additionally, every Sunday, we have a wonderful program that we have created with a lot of marvelous people in the community, families, church groups, and schools. We have dropped off at our premises, in essence, every Sunday, somewhere around 3,000 bag lunches And we make sure those lunches get distributed through some of our community partners all over the city, primarily to people living in homeless encampments. Just a slice of what we do at the
That's
Hollywood
fantastic.
Food Coalition.
That's fantastic. And so if people want to donate, if they're local and they want to get involved, or if you're not local, like myself, I live on the other side of the country, how can they help? Where do they go? Where do they go online to provide assistance?
Easiest thing to do is to go to hofoco.org. Go to our website, and you can, if you live in Los Angeles and you'd be interested in getting involved, you can sign up to cook, you can sign up to serve, you can sign up to pull a shift in our warehouse space and help unload the food that arrives, sort it, cull it, store it, and get it out the door to some of the recipient organizations. And on Sunday, you can help our sandwich distribution program. And you can also donate there at our donation platform. But I also really want to encourage you to consider it, although I think, in a way, where you choose to give a dollar, it's not so much about the geography, because a dollar you give in Portland or Seattle or Los Angeles is still helping people. Right. So if this is an organization, the mission appeals to you, you are helping some wonderful people in need. But if you feel you want to work locally, I would only say look around and see what's in your neighborhood, what's in your city, what's in your community, an organization that is working on the ground with people in need. And that could be folks who are experiencing hunger. It could be folks who need legal assistance these days. That's obviously something that's pretty important. It could be teaching a kid to read. There's a lot of ways you can give back to your community. This happens to be mine. I'm very passionate about it. But in the holiday season, it's mostly about rolling up your sleeves.
Right. That's fantastic. And as I said, I promised a quick message. So this has been fantastic, Con. It's great to see you. Hofoco.org. That's HOFO. Oh, I just lost it.
You got it. HOFOCO, Hollywood Food Coalition. Hofoco. And it's
ho. Oh. All right, John, I will see you in the near future. Happy holidays to all, and thanks for spending this extra time listening.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
So much. Appreciate it.